Hey guys, Morpp here. In this video I'm going to talk about what GOAT format is, why you should play it, and showcase some sample deck lists. Let's get started. GOAT format was a Yu-Gi-Oh format that lasted from June 6, 2005 to August 21st, 2005. It is called GOAT format because of the metagame being centered around Scapegoat, a card which summons 4 level 1 sheep tokens in defense mode when activated. These tokens can then be used as tribute fodder for Metamorphosis to summon Thousand Eyes Restrict, which can equip opposing monsters to itself and prevents other monsters from attacking or changing their battle positions. If Thousand Eyes Restrict is combined with Tsukiyomi or Book of Moon, it can then steal an opposing monster again and again, which generates a ton of card advantage and tempo for whoever controls the pesky spellcaster. GOAT format makes use of the April 2005 ban list, as well as a relatively large card pool, both of which you can find links for in the description box below. To keep things concise, the card pool consists of any cards that were released before August 20th, 2005, which is the date of Shonen Jump Championship Indianapolis and is the main historical event the GOAT community bases the format after. It is also important to note that GOAT format makes use of card erratas from 2005, so cards like Sangan and Sinister Serpent will function differently than they do today. Furthermore, contrary to popular belief, the promo cards from the 2005 collector's tins, most notably Exarion Universe, are not considered to be part of the legal card pool for GOAT format. This is because there was no period in time when the promos released in the 2005 collector's tins were legal, while Cybernetic Revolution was not, as they were both made legal for tournament play on September 1st, 2005. Since it is near universally agreed upon that GOAT format should be played without Cybernetic Revolution, Exarion and the rest of these tin promos are also excluded from the GOAT format card pool. You can find an article on why Exarion Universe is not considered to be part of GOAT format in the description box below, alongside the links to the ban list and legal card pool. GOAT format also makes use of a few rules that the current format of Yu-Gi-Oh no longer does. For starters, whoever goes first still draws a card during their first draw phase, which results in players nearly always choosing to go first if they win the die roll. Secondly, the field layout does not contain extra monster zones nor pendulum zones, since GOAT format uses the old field layout from the Duel Monsters to Zexal eras. This also means only one player may control a field spell at a time, so if your opponent activates a field spell while you already control one, yours is destroyed by game mechanics. Finally, and perhaps the most confusing rule change, is the concept of ignition effect priority. In GOAT format, the existence of this mechanic means that monsters with ignition effects can activate their effects as Chain Link 1 during the summon response window. This does not mean you can resolve card effects without your opponent being able to respond to them, as is the case with a card like Super Polymerization. It just means you can activate a monster's ignition effect when you summon it, before your opponent can activate anything in response. After the chain is built, you still resolve it like you normally would in any other instance. For example, if you normal summon Trap Infecting Virus, you can activate its effect, discarding Sinister Serpent, as Chain Link 1, before your opponent can respond with their said Bottomless Trap Hole. The chain would then resolve backwards. Bottomless Trap Hole would destroy and banish Trap Infecting Virus, and then Trap Infecting Virus's effect would resolve, destroying all monsters of the type that its user declared. So why do people play GOAT format? Well, GOAT format is much slower in comparison to modern Yu-Gi-Oh, and this is largely due to Scapegoat's role in the metagame. While Scapegoat by itself is technically a -1, the tempo gained by GOAT tokens blocking attacks and buying time leads to games that tend to go on for quite long and become more drawn out. This means precise resource management, timing offensive pushes correctly, and making good reads are all extremely important, resulting in highly skill-intensive gameplay. GOAT format is also considered to be one of the healthiest formats in Yu-Gi-Oh's history in the sense that control, aggro, and combo decks are all equally viable, thus establishing a sense of deck diversity. While GOAT control and its variants have been historically regarded as being the best deck, the format is far from a tier 0 format, and many other decks are more than capable of competing alongside it. GOAT format is also one of the best examples of a game that is easy to learn, but hard to master. If you understand the basic rules of Yu-Gi-Oh, you are more than capable of playing a game of GOAT format from start to finish. However, as mentioned earlier, the length of most games means that there are a ton of in-game decisions to make per match, and one misplay, no matter how minor, can mean the difference between victory or defeat. Finally, GOAT format decks are also very cheap to build. While high rarity GOAT decks can cost upwards of $1,000, a low rarity GOAT control deck will cost you no more than 50 to 60 USD. In comparison, it is hard to come by a top tier competitive Yu-Gi-Oh deck for the current metagame that costs under 100 USD. Now that you know what makes GOAT format so appealing to so many people, let's explore some of the decks of the format. We'll go over control decks, aggro decks, and combo decks in that order. Let's start with the control decks. Pictured here is Jash's GOAT control list. GOAT control specializes in having a tool to deal with nearly any scenario you may find yourself in, and having an insane amount of threats in the mid to late game. These threats include cards like Thousand Eyes Restrict, Abyss Soldier in tandem with Sinister Serpent, Air Knight Parshath, Lackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, and Ring of Destruction. However, Goat Control can struggle with getting out of the early game before your opponent manages to reduce your life points to 0, or win through an alternate win condition. It is worth mentioning that in the past, people used to play a Zero Priest over Abyss Soldier for its ability to clear a field of Goat tokens in a single battle phase, and many people still play a Zero Priest over Abyss Soldier for this reason. However, Jazz prefers Abyss Soldier since he likes the additional form of removal Abyss provides him in tandem with another water monster, namely Sinister Serpent, Trap Affecting Virus, or Mobius the Frost Monarch in the matchups it gets sided in against. Additionally, Abyss Soldier provides the deck with more explosive power in the late game when combined with Premature Burial, since returning it to the hand doesn't cause the monster summoned by it to be destroyed. This means you can Premature Burial a monster in your graveyard, use Abyss Soldier's effect on Premature Burial to return it to your hand, then activate Premature Burial again to summon a different monster from your graveyard, all in the same turn. This is especially relevant in the odd chance Magical Merchant mills your Lackluster Soldier to the graveyard, or it is discarded by your opponent's Delinquent Duo. If you're looking for a deck to start learning the format with, this is the one I personally recommend you use. The next control deck I'd like to showcase is Angel Chaos Control. This deck takes a different approach from the generic Goat Control deck through the absence of Air Knight Parshath and the inclusion of Chaos Sorcerer, both Magical Merchants, Morphing Jar, Premature Burial, Call of the Haunted, and a Dust Tornado are also cut for 2 copies of Dekoichi the Battle Channel Locomotive, an additional Book of Moon, and 3 Shining Angels. The Angels are important as they serve as battle floaters who also act as additional light fuel for Chaos Sorcerer. The last control deck I want to showcase is Jazz's Chaos Flip Turbo deck. This deck forgoes the Scapegoat plus Metamorphosis package, and instead focuses on gaining access to BLS and Chaos Sorcerer as quickly as possible. This is done through the multitude of light and dark flip effect monsters, as well as Thunder Dragon, all of which serve as banish fodder to summon the powerful Chaos monsters. It is important to mention that Thunder Dragon and Night Assailant also give the deck synergy with card destruction, as well as powerful traps with the discard costs like Phoenix Wind Blast and Raigeki Break. The deck's primary weakness, however, is that Thunder Dragon blows the Chaos player's hand, which means an opposing trap Dust Shoot will nearly always be live, and is thus a very good card to side against it. Let's move on to the aggro decks. This is my personal stun aggro deck which I developed in early 2019 alongside Brandis and GSOP, 2 other members of Team Monsanto, and used to play starting GoatFormat.com's $100 free roll tournament in June 2019. Stun aggro decks aim to win through quickly dealing damage and utilizing 1-for-1 trades to simplify the game state, instead of amassing card advantage and overwhelming one's opponent with it. This is achieved through the plethora of removal and negation options like Exiled Force, Solemn Judgment, and Trap Dust Shoot, as well as the high beater count. It is also worth noting that King Tiger Wanghu allows the aggro deck's offensive pushes to bypass the classic Scapegoat plus Metamorphosis play as long as Wanghu remains face up on the field, which is why he is played at 3 copies and is used in his list as a build-around card. Aggro decks are believed to have a favorable Goat Control matchup, but tend to struggle against most decks that play Chaos Sorcerer because of how hard it is to deal with when summoned against them. While Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer and Trap Dust Shoot are effective ways to prevent a Chaos monster from ever being dropped onto the field, games tend to swing very heavily in favor of the Chaos player if they get drawn out for too long. The other aggro deck I'm featuring in this video is Sparky Flary's Gearfried deck, which he used to win the aforementioned GoatFormat.com $100 free roll tournament. It makes use of the interaction between Smoke Grenade of the Thief alongside Gearfried the Iron Knight, which gives the deck a strong form of hand disruption. However, this also means the deck is very vulnerable to Chainbolt back row, since using a card like Book of Moon, Ring of Destruction, or Compulsory Evacuation device on Gearfried when it is equipped with Smoke Grenade will cause the equipped spell to resolve without effect. Using Mystical Space Typhoon or Dust Tornado on Smoke Grenade when it is activated will also cause it to resolve without effect, since in that scenario the equipped spell is destroyed before it has resolved. Finally, let's move on to the combo decks of Goat format. Pictured here is the standard Empty Jar deck, which is one of the most common alternate win condition decks in the format. The deck is a mill deck which aims to get started with a 2-card combo of either Cyber or Morphing Jar alongside Book of Taiyu. It then loops this combo to deplete the card count in both players' decks, then wins the duel through the 2-card combinations of either Card Destruction and Serial Spell, or Card Destruction and a Recycler, specifically Spell Reproduction or a Feather of the Phoenix in tandem with any form of draw power. Empty Jar is regarded to be the most effective combo deck in the format, though ACP and Noelle Evelyn's recent innovations with the Library FTK strategy may change this sometime in the near future. The last deck I'll cover in this video is Noelle's Reasoning Gate Turbo deck. This deck focuses on gaining access to Dark Magician of Chaos as quickly as possible through the use of Reasoning and Monster Gate. Once the majority of the deck has been thinned and or milled, light and dark fodder like Sacred Crane, Thunder Dragon, Jinzo, and Toon Cannon Soldier are banished from the graveyard to summon BLS and Chaos Sorcerer. This fodder is then summoned from the banished pile through the use of Dimension Fusion. All of these monsters attacking you in one battle phase then being tributed for the effective Toon Cannon Soldier is often enough to end the game right then and there. While Reasoning Gate Turbo is very explosive, the deck can also struggle with consistency issues and is rather fragile, so it more often than not loses to itself if the opponent can survive the initial onslaught or put the RGT player on a short enough clock. That about does it for my intro to GOAT format video. The format is constantly changing, very difficult to master, and most importantly, incredibly fun to play. A special shoutout goes out to Jazz for his contributions in helping me write and edit the script for this video. Feel free to support him by joining the Format Library Discord server, which you can find an invite link for in the description box below. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like it, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/morp_YGO, and follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/morp_YGO. I hope you guys try out GOAT format and grow to enjoy it as much as I do. Thanks for watching, and until next time.